welcome to the Early Late Night Live Show. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. We are here in Exeter TV, YouTube, and hopefully Berwick, Maine. I'm KJ Traynor. Terry Traynor, who usually hosts the show, is not with us tonight, but I have with me Mitch Fortier. Hi, Mitch.
What's going on, KJ? It's kind of a bummer that Terry's not here because we have nobody to pick on you.
Yeah, I know, right? This is going to be such a sad show because of that.
A little reprieve.
We also have the fantabulous Stephen Lomer, who's just dropped a new book, and we're going to be talking about that in the interview section. Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hi, KJ. I'm happy to make fun of you if you like.
Oh, thanks. And also with us, because we do not have Terry, is Dan in Dan in the back room. Say hey to everyone, Dan.
Hello, everyone. And also, KJ, I'm also okay with making fun of you.
Oh, good. Terry's going to be so pleased there's so many of you.
I don't.
Well, Terry will be terribly pleased that there's so many people to just pick up
the slack. Yeah.
Now, Stephen, you're wearing a number 5 shirt for a very special reason.
That's right. As any fan of Saturday Night Live knows, when a guest is invited back for their 5th time, they are given a 5-timers jacket and are welcomed into the 5-timers club. And this is my 5th appearance on the Early Late Night Live show. I don't really remember the others. I've sort of blocked them out a little bit, like you do.
Fair.
Yeah, they were a little traumatic. Thanks, Terry. But so I fashioned myself a 5-timers hoodie. Because, why do a jacket in the pandemic, for crying out loud?
Exactly.
So, yes, I am a 5-timer, so I'm very excited. So, cheers to the 5-timers club.
Oh, cheers. Well, thank you for coming back. And I feel like, being 5 times in the show is kind of like running Tough Mudder a couple of times.
Yeah, it really is in many, many ways. You're absolutely right.
Sans mud.
Sans mud.
Not necessarily. We don't know. We don't know how this is all going to play out. So,
because I was thinking I think you've been in every studio. Because I know you were in Chester. I'm pretty sure you made it to the Exeter High School.
I did, yes.
And you made it to the Exeter Town Hall, and now you're in the Skype room. So you've made it to not only to 5 shows, but to each version of the show. So again,
that's true. Yes, I was in the very scary bunker for that first one, and then the high school that I couldn't get into for the second one. Yeah, I remember that. Someone had to come and let me in. It was very much like high school. And then, I was, I think, twice in the. Is that City Hall? Is that where the filming takes place? It must have been twice there, and now Skype. So this is terribly exciting. But this is the first time that I've been able to be on the show and wear shorts. So that's very exciting for me.
There are some benefits to shooting from home. I will say that.
There definitely are. Yes, my commute was very short, so. I like it.
Nice. All right. So this, before we get into your interview, and you can talk about your awesome new book, and which I think is wrapping up a trilogy, or at least it's a third of your books, we're going to do trailer trash. And I think, yeah. So let's start with the Good Lord Bird, which is surprisingly hard to say. Can we roll that, Dan? Yay! All right, so Good Lord Bird is a TV miniseries starring Ethan Hawke. It was also created by Ethan Hawke, who stars as abolitionist John Brown in which features a boy named Onion, who is a fictional enslaved boy who becomes a member of Brown's family of abolitionist soldiers and finds himself in the 1859 raid at Harper's Ferry. So that is that. So, Mitch, you want to give us your take on this?
Oh, I would absolutely love to give you my take on this. And here comes the caveat.
Would you rather I waited until after you watched the whole trailer?
What makes you think that I haven't watched the trailer? I mean, come on. But I'm going to pass.
Okay. Stephen, what do you think of this?
I'm going to come up with something brilliant.
Okay. Goodness, I didn't expect to be in the hot seat so quickly. So I will say this about the trailer: it's a little bit confusing about what it's about, frankly. I'll give it credit that it's funny, which I certainly didn't expect from a Civil War era miniseries. Ethan Hawke has certainly aged. I don't know. I don't know if he's aged well or not. It's hard to say. I guess I would have to leave that up to other people's opinions. But it looks interesting. I'm always a fan of good period pieces, but I gotta say the title is really, I don't know. It's an odd title and it's not particularly catchy.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, there's so many other titles that this could have been.
Yeah.
Bird was not the one I thought of.
No, certainly not. I don't even know what it means, frankly.
No, I don't either. So, Dan, did you have a chance to watch it? Or, because I know you're stepping in last minute.
Yes, I did.
So. All right, what did you think?
It was interesting. I kind of couldn't quite catch the tone, because like Steven said, it was pretty funny. But it also felt really serious in some parts. And, you know, it felt a little all over the place. I'm a huge fan of Ethan Hawke, but I don't know.
Well, that kind of sums it up for me, too, because when that cannon fired, I have to expected it to fall apart like it does in F Troop. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that show. But my initial few seconds of watching this, I thought, oh, it's like F Troop, like a funny version of, oh, no, it's not. So I couldn't tell if it's supposed to be a comedy, a drama, or a comedy drama. And I wish they'd just stuck with comedy, because there's a lot of really funny parts in this trailer. And also, there's got to be a reason for the name, but I couldn't even possibly guess. So that being said, I'm going to give it 1 thumb up for the comedy and 1 sideways, because I don't know what's going on, really, even though I kind of know the history. What about you guys? Steven, why don't we go with you first?
I'm going to have to do exactly the same thing, because it looks interesting. It looks well done. It has the potential to be really funny, but again, like Dan said, I don't really know what it is we're doing or why we should be drawn into Good Bird Lord. What is it? Good.
I know, right?
Good night, Moon. What was it? I already forgot.
Good Lord Bird.
Good Lord Bird. Yes. So yeah, I'll go with the thumb up and the thumb sideways.
All right. Mitch, do you want to rate what you saw?
Yeah, so I actually listened to a little bit too, and I'm going to give it 1 solid thumbs up for he's nuttier than Squirrel Turd.
That's a good line.
It was fast paced, looked fast paced, interesting, a lot of going on. I wonder how much the personal relationships might lose and not be a focus, but they tend to sometimes have a tendency to get those into series eventually. They got to make it long lasting, and so it's got potential, I guess, but. It's curious, not super interested at this point, but I might have to check it out when it comes out. And so, but I'm sideways on the second one.
Okay, and you, Dan?
Looks like we're all agreeing. I'm gonna go 1 thumb up and 1 thumb sideways. It does look pretty funny, and it does look very well done. It's just I'm not sure what the tone is, and that's making me hesitant.
Yeah, I will say that Ethan Hawke as a crazy old guy really works.
Can I just ask Dan? What Ethan Hawke works made you an Ethan Hawke fan?
God, now that I think about it, I can't even really remember specifically.
Because I'm not sure I've ever seen an Ethan Hawke movie. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Magnificent Seven, right?
What was it?
I want to say he was in the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, he was in the remake.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
Wow. That,
yeah. All right.
That ground everything to a halt. Sorry. Sorry, Ethan, if you're watching.
We love you, Ethan.
I'm sure Ethan is watching.
All right. So this next trailer was one that Terry picked, and I think the minute it comes on screen, you guys are all going to know why. It's called Enter the Fat Dragon. Can we roll that trailer, please? This may have already come out. I'm not really sure. But, this stars Donnie Yen. I think that's right. And yes, Donnie Yen and Nikki Chow. And the write-up is, a cop is assigned to a case of escorting a criminal to Japan while dealing with the relationship problems and his enormous change in appearance as a result of being dumped. Which you can clearly see in this trailer all the emotional entanglements that are happening. Why don't we... Dan, did you watch this trailer?
Yes, I did.
Why don't we start with you?
So I gotta admit, I totally missed that was Donnie Yen. I didn't even recognize him. That doesn't change the fact that I was in from the start.
All right. So, yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. All right, Steven, how about you? What do you think?
All right, you guys might want to get comfortable because I have a lot to say about this particular trailer. Okay. Now, all three of you were with me when we created the Typo Squad short film. You were all on set with me. So you guys know that I have no problem having a fat nerd as the lead. Okay, right? Okay.
Right.
So here's my problem.
I think
This
you're
guy-
I was going to bring up.
This guy is a talented martial artist and potentially a talented actor. I've never seen his work, but he is not fat. They've put him in a fat suit or somehow altered him digitally to make him fat and then put on a pair of glasses to sort of make him a nerd. So I think I love the idea of an unexpected lead like that, but are there no fat nerd martial art actor guys that you could get to do this, like actual guys? Because it feels a little bit out of touch. It feels a little bit like it's a mockery in a way. And I know this is supposed to be lighthearted and it's supposed to be goofy and fun and lots of martial arts and kicks and all flips and whatever, but it just really struck me that they made this guy fat. And if it was Christian Bale, he would have gotten fat.
Yeah.
He would have gotten fat and done the martial arts and wore the glasses and everything would have been fine. So that's my take.
Commit, Donnie Yen, commit.
Yes, exactly. Get fat and then get fit again. It's fine. So those are my thoughts on what I saw.
All right. Mitch, from what you saw, what did you think?
If I'm not mistaken, there was only literally one word spoken in the entire trailer. I think, and that it might have been some mumbling going on after the fact, but it was just, what? And that's it. And a room of people that are supposed to be trying to work, I guess. I think that's all the dialogue that I noticed. Because everything else was just so fast and action-packed and what's the word I'm looking for? Epic in a way, kind of just like, people falling through roofs and cars flipping over. And so every turn there was something new to look at or some kind of new stunt or something very dynamic happening. And all with this undertone of this, Jackie Chan kind of a feel to it, which I love. And the trailer was just a lot of fun to watch.
So both of you guys actually brought up the points I was going to bring up. Donnie Yen is not really fat. And even in his fat suit, he's really not that fat. So I was kind of confused by that.
That's a good too.
Yeah, I was like, this is confusing, and I feel a little judged,
Mm-hmm.
But it did definitely have a very fun Jackie Chan feel to it. Like my impression from this trailer is that they're sending up a whole lot of kung fu style movies, which Terry's way more familiar with than I am. But I've seen enough to go like, oh yeah, that's from that movie. That's from that movie. Which to me says this probably isn't going to be a good movie, but it's probably going to be a lot of broken bones at the end of it, and sometimes that's really all you want. So, all right. So, Dan, what are you going to rate this trailer?
So I was going to do 2 thumbs up, but Steven actually brought up a pretty good point that it's not. There isn't as much commitment to the role as I initially thought. Of course, that's because I didn't realize it was Donnie Yen. That said, it does look like a whole lot of fun. Not too much in the way of story that I saw. So I'd say probably one thumb up and one trying to get there.
So like this?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, it's all range and all motions, really. All right, Stephen, what's your rating?
Well, because it's fun and action-packed and goofy and an homage. Also, we didn't even bring up that they mentioned
right. I was
a remake of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Kind of a big movie.
Yeah. So because it's fun and because it's harmless, I will give it the thumbs up. But because of the issues that I brought up earlier, the other thumb is going to be down.
All right. And Mitch, how about you?
I love all the action. I'm solid thumb up at this point for all the action and the hilarity that apparently will ensue. I'm a little concerned about the overall quality and depth of the film, and I know it's a comedy, but still one of those things that just didn't give me a lot to go on. So I'm kind of in the middle. I do love the idea too of the Bruce Lee seeing something that he created kind of reinvented in a way as an homage, as Steve put it.
Well, I'm going to do two right in the middle, because even though I was giggling while I was watching this, I feel like if I actually watched the whole movie, I'd get that kind of headache you got as a kid when you had too much cereal and watched too many cartoons. so two in the middle for that. All right, so that was Trailer Trash. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Stephen Lomer about his brand new book and some other fun, exciting things that he's got going on. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You called me by my name earlier. How do you know my name?
Cafes do hire new employees, Dick. It's not unheard of.
Yes, well, I was already up for my midday ablutions anyway.
Consider this my 2-week notice.
Can we focus, please?
You put up a typo, stupid.
All right, so what you saw there was a trailer for Stephen Lomer's short film based on his series of novels called Typo Squad, which was a very fun shoot to do. I think Mitch was there, Dan was there, we were all there having a great time shooting Stephen's film. But Stephen finally has come out with the sequel
Finally.
to his second book. Finally! His second book ends in a cliffhanger, in case you guys didn't know. So now you can buy both because you'll have the whole story. Stephen, it's so good to have you back, and I'm so excited about this book. I bought 2 versions of it.
Yes. So you said during the break. That's very exciting. That's I encourage everybody to do that. I encourage everybody to buy the Kindle version and the paperback version, just in case your Kindle, like you said, you didn't have any Wi-Fi. That happens. Your Kindle powers down, the screen breaks. There's all kinds of things that could happen that could deny you the glory of Typo Squad 3. So yeah, you should have the paperback as a backup anyway. And you're going to want to read it a lot of times, and probably bring it to the beach this summer if you can go to the beach this summer. So yeah, buy as many copies as you can, and they make great gifts.
Well, I know it's a lot of fun. So I know book 2 was set in England. They went over there to solve a problem, and they came back home to an even bigger problem. So can you tell us a little bit about this new book and about maybe why it took 2 years to write? Because it must be awesome if it took that long.
Yes, it was quality that I was looking for. So let's start with I think everything, because the as I'm looking, the 5 is correct. So I think if I hold up the Typo Squad book, oh, look at that, it's correct. Nice. So this is actually the new cover for Typo Squad. I redid the covers so that they would all be kind of uniform now that I've released Typo Squad 3. So in the first book, in Typo Squad, we meet Typo Squad. There is a new errorist in town named Anton Nim, and Typo Squad has to go and get Richard Dick Shineri to come out of retirement to help them take down Nim and his errorist cell. So I won't spoil it by telling you whether they do or not, because I don't remember. But anyway, so then we move on to Typo Squad Book 2, Return of the Wordmonger. And so in Typo Squad Book 2, they sort of suspend their search for Anton Nim because there's an issue taking place over in London with Her Majesty's Royal Typo Brigade. And they have to, the boys of Typo Squad have to go across the pond and help out with that. So as KJ was kind enough to point out, that ended on a cliffhanger. And I released Typo Squad in 2017, and I released Typo Squad 2 in 2018. Anyone out there who's familiar with patterns probably can see what I was going for. But then 2019 came and went, and there was no Typo Squad 3. It was mostly because, first of all, finding the time. KJ, I'm sure you can commiserate with me about finding time to write.
Oh yeah.
But there were a lot of fits and starts with this book. I came up with a concept and I wrote it out and it wasn't right. So I stopped and I started again, and I still wasn't quite getting it the way I wanted it to. So I took some time off and I just let it sit for a while. And then finally I came up with the flow and the story. So then came Typo Squad Book 3, The Typo Alliance. This is actually a proof. You probably can see this little gray bar across the top. So I can't sell this. But this is what it would look like if you had the book in your hands, which KJ will, in addition to having the Kindle version. So in Typo Squad 3, there are all kinds of hell breaks loose for our heroes, and they're forced to call in the cavalry, call in a bunch of other typo organizations, which were hinted at, but we never really explored in any of the other books. And they form the Typo Alliance to take down the aristocracy, which Anton Nim is now running. Thank you. So it completes the, if this were indeed a trilogy, this would complete it. But there's no reason why there can't be a Typo Squad 4. And I guess I could probably make the announcement right here, right now, that I have started writing Typo Squad 4 because I came up with a great idea. Yes, exclusive, breaking news. Can we have that across the... Maybe we can put that in post. But I came up with an idea, and it was funny. I wrote down the first line of it because it came into my head and I didn't want to lose it, and then I wrote the second line and it just kept going and going. So I think I'm about 3,500 words into Typo Squad 4. So yeah, for those who were hoping this was it, sorry, we're gonna keep doing this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's a very good start.
It's very exciting stuff.
Oh man, so that's awesome. So you have a lot of really cool characters in your books. They're very distinctive. They all have their own quirks. A lot of them are hilarious. And I was wondering, did you base any of them off of friends, or are they all figments of your imagination, or are they amalgamations of kind of both?
Well, I think each of them is based on one sort of characteristic of Terry Traynor. So he was my muse, and I thought about all the different facets of Terry Traynor, and what makes him tick, and I sort of dissected him and then scattered him to the bunch of characters that I have, which is why you have such a range of emotions and senses of humor, and why they're all so good looking. So, no, none of that is true.
Damn it, you do me first.
Sorry, Terry, none of that is true. You're going to be watching this back, and none of that is true.
And so,
yes.
Sorry, Steve, I wanted to I don't do a lot of reading books in general. Unless there's some kind of a self-help, personal performance, things of that nature, practical stuff, if you will. But I love your stories, and I've had the honor of being on set for the short that you did, and the dialogue is fun. It's personable. It's not in your face. It's always something that to kind of be looking forward to, in the writing style, if you will. There's and to see how things kind of play out, and when's the next quip coming, or when's the new, real kind of serious relationship, if you will, entity gonna kind of pop up, and reading. You've got some new episodes of a show coming up, I believe, that I'm hoping you'll talk more about.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for all of those kind words. That shoot that we did where we filmed the Typo Squad short film, that was the most fun I've ever had in my adult life. It really was. It was just so much ridiculous fun. Even with a tyrant like Terry on set, we still managed to have fun, which is, that's a trick right there. You guys all know that. So I was thinking about the Typo Squad short film, and I'm very proud of it. I think it was really great, and I love it with all my heart. But it was sort of a one and done. Like we filmed it, and it was a beginning, middle, and an end, and then that was sort of it. So I thought, how can we keep the fun going? How can we get this motley crew back together and recreate that fun? And I thought the best way to do that would be to write it as a series, because then it can be never ending. There can just always be new Typo Squad episodes. So I sat down and I wrote out, I think it was a total of 9 episodes of, right now I'm thinking of it as a web series. But if there's anyone from Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or Apple Plus or Peacock or God knows what else listening, and you want it, let me know. Give me a call. Well, in post, we'll pop my number right up there so you can.
Steve's like,
call me. Yes, please call me. So we very recently did a table read, and that was hilarious. We did that over Zoom. And there was a lot of laughter. There were a few tears, but mostly from all the laughing. We were graced by the amazing David Coffey, who, for those who don't know, he plays Scrooge in the North Shore Music Theater's A Christmas Carol, and he's been doing it for decades now. He's sort of synonymous with that production, and he's one of those guys where
personality, no question.
He was great. He was he subbed in for somebody who wasn't there. I asked him if he'd read another character, and he did. He was totally fine with it.
He had, without a doubt, the most difficult lines to read.
Yes. I gave him, the character is may or may not, and I intentionally gave him the biggest possible words that I could think of, and he chewed through it, man. He was not intimidated at all. He didn't even blink. He was so great. So we did that, and there were a lot of old faces and a lot of new faces, and I'm hoping that we can get some funding so that when this craziness is all over and we can all be in each other's company once again, we can just set up a camera and get this thing rolling.
Fine to me. So, where can people find your book and find out more about your short film?
Well, they can always go to StephenLomer.com. That's got all of the newest information. That's got the links to all of my books. Pretty much everything you can think of that you could need is there. You can also just pop right over to Amazon and type in Typo Squad. Of course, I've been telling people this a lot recently, and I'll announce it here so that everyone knows. It doesn't make any sense if you've never seen the original Star Wars trilogy. It makes no sense to start with Return of the Jedi. I mean, what kind of crazy person would do that? So really, get yourself all 3 Typo Squad books so that you're not just jumping in and you don't know who's who or what's what. So get the first one, get the second one, get the third one. They're quick and easy reads, and you'll really enjoy it. And if you don't, I'll give you your money back.
Real quick before we go,
not a guarantee.
Teresa Boudreau says reality bites. Margaret Traynor says, hi, Stephen. And Teresa Boudreau then says, how much has he had to drink? Terry is his muse.
Well, Teresa is my lovely wife, and Peggy is my mistress. So they have to fight it out occasionally.
Our mother watches this show,
I'm sorry, what? Oh, we should
My mother
probably
watches
edit that out. Yeah, sorry. Dan, can you edit that out?
Tim Baird apparently thinks one of the trailers is such a good movie or something. I don't know when that came in, but thanks for joining us, Tim. And Bob, just don't be late ever again. We'll kick you out.
Tim is a very talented author. He's a very good friend of mine and huge supporter of Typo Squad. So, Tim, thank you for watching tonight.
All right, so that was our interview, but Stephen's going to stick around for the rest of the show, and so should you. We'll be back right after this clip.
Yay. I wish someone would come up with a new idea for the show.
Seriously, Terry, I think we should start talking about politics on the show.
Seriously, Mitch, I think we should start talking about your position on the show.
Seriously, I'm gonna go.
Competitive game. Competitive get out.
Got it. Sports!
Noted.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Steve. Go home.
Going.
Story time. You're changed now.
So, Terry. Why are you not in the sketch?
Terry was supposed to pick on me. We're back. All right. Hi, everyone. We're back. And now we're going to turn this segment over to Mitch, who has all the news. Mitch, tell us what's happening in the world.
Oh, my God. I got news. Yes.
There's actually news this week.
There's
Yay.
stuff going on in the world. Woohoo. So, okay, let's see. Back to our traditional box office news. Something that we don't get to talk about very often. Last week we talked about this little horror movie called The Wretched, which was on track to make a record, record 6 weeks on top since the first time since Avatar in 2009 and 10. So this movie has made, like Avatar made $1 or $2 billion or $2.2 billion or something like that. This movie has reached a whopping $1 million.
Wow.
Stayed on top of the box office for 6 weeks.
Wow. The box office just isn't what it used to be.
It is not what it used to be.
I was going to say, comparatively, it's actually doing really well.
There were only two films in competition last week. This week there are 8 films in competition with The Wretched. So things are starting to open up a little bit across the country as I think we're starting to find out. Which brings me to my next little bit piece of news, which is AMC, according to The Verge, is dead set on opening their theaters, or some of their theaters, on July 15th, I believe, where The Tenant and Disney's Mulan are set to open, and hopefully they can begin to get out of the red, where in the first quarter of 2020 they lost $2.2 billion in revenue. which equates to essentially a lot of money. So yeah, they're bleeding money right now, of course, and hoping these two big movies, can help save them. But people are a little bit nervous about going to the films. They say that I think 65% of the pollers said that they polled were going to be, some of the reports are that they'll wait a year before they actually go to a large event or a crowded event like a sporting event or a movie theater and things like that. Me personally, I think I'm probably going to go knowing, because I'm somewhat lax, if you will, about the idea of catching COVID, but I'm sure big theaters where they've got seats, they can put them people easily 6 feet apart, it's like in some of these bigger theaters with comfy seats. What are you guys thinking? You gonna even attempt to go to a theater in July or August or?
Oh yeah, whenever Wonder Woman's released, I'm going.
Nope.
So we got 30 or 66% are definitely considering.
Well, Steven's got a new baby book he's got to look after, so he's got a reason to live.
Yeah.
I got writer's block, so I got nothing.
Yeah, extenuating circumstances, and I'm sure different for everybody. So yeah, they're looking to see what Tenet will do. We'll see how long The Wretched manages to stay at top of the box office and take over Avatar. Woo!
That would be amazing. I'm really pulling for The Wretched now, because if they could topple Avatar from that one record, that would be just amazing.
These times are going to have, the record books are going to be plastered with asterisks.
Yeah.
Asterisks? I think that's the right way to say that word, right? Asterisks. It'll kind of look like the baseball in 2000 whatever, any year, pick a year. Oh, sorry, sports. I didn't mean to do that, but this one was kind of interesting. So I was searching around, funny news, weird news, and there's an article on a website called UPI. There's a guy from New Hampshire who was a former rapper. Let me see if I can get his name here real quick. I forgot it. It's weird. It's like Reefy Cheeky or something silly like that.
Trying to really hide the fact that he's from New Hampshire, huh?
He's something like that, yeah. So I don't know how well he did in the rapping world, but at any rate, I'll find it. His book, he's got a 724-word book that contains 340 alliterative words with consonant sounds of M that do not repeat and are separated by 3 syllables or less.
Wow.
So for those who don't know, like I didn't about 45 minutes ago, what alliterative means, it's Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, is an alliterative phrase, if you will, or sentence. 340 words? Are there that many words that begin with M?
Well, apparently. I don't know. Steven, what do you think of this wordsmith? I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Well, it's certainly an achievement. The question is this run of alliterative words any good? Does it make sense? Because it seems like it would. The real challenge would be coming up with a series of words that all started with M and yet still conveyed what you were trying to convey, and you didn't have to use a crowbar to make it work.
Sure.
So I'd be curious to see how one could do that.
Well, I hate to bring up your competition, but it's really not your competition, because this is such an anecdotal kind of a thing in my judgment. By the way, the guy's name is Chris Elliott. He's from New Hampshire, and he's formerly known as Freestyle with 2 I's, F-R-I-I, style. Gaspol. I don't have any idea what that means, but the title of the book is called The Epic Poem Mastermind. But I think I just kind of came up with like a 7 or 8 word alliteration. Ready?
All right, lay it on us.
Mitch's motorcycle makes many marvelous moments under the moon.
You see how at the end it falls apart? You see?
Because it was under the. It's still 3 syllables or less, so I'm good.
Yes.
Now imagine doing
But
that
yes,
for
but
another
it's-
300 words.
I had more confidence in myself and didn't finish the sentence before I actually shared it with so I made it up as we were going along.
Improv.
Tell.
Dare you criticize me? Oh, wait, you both authors. Never mind. Oh, man. So, yeah, so I thought that was kind of funny. Registry of Official World Records. So, let's see. We got a little more time. So I don't remember where this was, but I remember reading this in the news, and I thought this was kind of cool. There's apparently some guy out there that has been driving around this, like, one of those boats that you got to push with a stick, along the river and whatnot. And he created this Darth Vader statue, or that in one of a stormtrooper, like out of plastic bags and floor mats and things like that, as he delivers food around to people, during the pandemic and so forth. So Star Wars is starting to show up, and the dark side is apparently being used to represent good deeds. I'm not sure what's up with that.
PR to me. Don't believe it. The Empire's still evil.
But it was Star Wars, and it was good deed related, so I thought it was worth bringing up.
Yeah.
I should go find it, but
All right.
cartoons are getting safer.
So.
Okay, but don't fret. The dark side is, I think the dark side's actually now got an upper hand because cartoons are now getting safer. Because Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam are going to be disarmed in their future iterations. They're going to take away their guns and give them sticks and dynamite instead.
I don't really understand this.
And there's no apparent reason for it. They're just like, we're just not doing guns. And we're like, oh. So I was like, oh, well, that's
I'm assuming anvils are okay.
Yeah.
Probably pianos, too, if you just drop them on people's heads.
That's it. Yeah.
Because that's not fun.
Well, I mean, I'm wondering if grenades are okay, because those would be kind of fun. And get some exercise, throwing them, and things like that.
Elmer Fudd is a hunter.
Right.
He's a hunter. Of course he's going to have a gun. That's what hunters do.
He's hunting wabbits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Yosemite Sam is a...
He's a ranger, a cop.
Yeah.
I guess. A cowboy?
A cowboy. Yeah, maybe he's an outlaw, Yeah, if he's an outlaw.
Maybe he's a marshal. I don't know what he is.
I don't know.
He's not. No,
Darth?
Deputy Dog.
He is
That's
the
a different one.
he is a cartoon personification of my brother Augie, though.
That's funny.
Yeah, he's got the same short temper, and I don't know if you guys ever remember him beating a camel in one episode. It's my brother right down with his car. It was absolutely him. Oh, well, I don't know.
So anyways, that's pretty much all I got for the news today.
Well,
I will bring up this real quick. Being on the commercial side of things and in the Boston acting market, I'm starting to see things pop up for actors in the area, which is great. There's obviously a lot of stuff being done online, creative things for projects and things like that. And but we're starting to see activity from casting directors, and so they're getting work. Now they're doing interesting things to try and make that kind of that possible. Like obviously, no in-person auditions. A lot of stuff is being recorded and done remotely. And then there's a video that they're calling out for a couple. They need a couple, a man and a woman, or look for a male-female couple. But they are insisting that they be partners, if you will. So because they have to be in close proximity on set. So I'm like, can I pretend to be a couple with someone and maybe make this work? But I don't know. So I did reach out to somebody to see what was going on with them. But at any rate, there's stuff happening in the industry. It's starting to kind of bubble up again, and it's not all just like COVID-related announcements and things like that. There's actual real commercials being done. So.
Sweet. Well, on that upbeat note, when we come back, we're going to be talking about, we're going to do show and tell, and we'll be right back. So see you in a minute.
Okay, now that we have a growing audience.
Growing?
Yes, YouTube subscribers.
We got like 2 subscribers in the past month.
Okay, well, it's still growing, Dave. Anyways, we need to think about sponsors. Who would be interested in sponsoring us?
Restaurants.
Possibly.
Chain stores.
Unlikely.
The U.S. Army.
Why would the U.S. Army sponsor us?
Why would anyone sponsor us?
Because we're...
Dave, do we know anyone in the U.S. Army?
Yes, Matt. Matt was in the U.S. Army.
KJ, Matt got kicked out of the U.S. Army.
Right. Right.
All right, we are back. So in this portion of the show, we either do recommendations or we do show and tell, which we bring out a prop or something that has a funny story or means something to us. Mitch is bringing his thing back with him. Mitch, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I should probably grab another thing too to get even more examples of. So some people are pretty particular about the things that they buy, and I'm one of them for sure. Like I will, generally speaking, buy something, try it out. If I like it, then then I stick with it for a really long time. And I will go through to nth degree to try and find the thing that I want again. And more often than not, it's discontinued for some reason, and I can't find it. So I end up breaking it and then having to replace it. Well, I had a coffee mug like that I was searching around for, couldn't find, needed something that was small enough to fit in cup holders, didn't have a handle. The sippy part, and I'm going to show you the lid. The sippy part is, I don't know if it's going to see, is like really close. It's not a big one. There's no big slopey, pool for it to fall into, and it's lockable, and it's opened with a button, so it's spill proof. So I just push the button, and this is made by Contigo. It's also a metal cup with a stainless steel inner and a great wall, and does really well at insulating. And I have a water bottle that had a cap on it that I really loved. And it had a carabiner on it attached to it, so I could attach it to my backpack or my briefcase or whatever the case may be. And so I get really attached, and I do a lot of research, and once I find something like this, then I usually buy 2 or 3 just because I don't want to lose the opportunity to buy it again. But Contigo's a great product, and I would recommend them in general. I don't know if I can do that or not, but
I just did, so we're good.
yeah, so water under the bridge, sorry. Anyways, this cup made by nobody. Anyway, so that's my thing. That's what I got.
All right, Steven, how about you? What did you bring today?
Well, so there's a little bit of backstory for this. So my wife and I, every year in January, we buy a jar, and we call it the Happy Jar. And what we do is every time we go and see a movie that we really like, or we go to a new restaurant or whatever, we'll grab a coaster or a napkin, or if we have a wristband for a convention that we do, we throw it into the Happy Jar throughout the year. And then on New Year's Eve, we open the Happy Jar and we spill it all out, and we look back through the year and reminisce about all the stuff that we saw and that we did. So we had the 2019 Happy Jar, and that's actually what I brought. So this is the actual 2019 Happy Jar. So on New Year's Eve, we forgot to open the Happy Jar, and then days went by, and still we just didn't open the Happy Jar for whatever reason, and we still to this day have not opened the 2019 Happy Jar. And we got smacked with the coronavirus. So I'm wondering if there's a connection between not opening the Happy Jar and the worldwide pandemic that followed. I'm not saying there's cause and effect. I'm just saying this was the first year that we didn't open the Happy Jar, and we got COVID-19. So is it causality? I don't know. But
it's like the reversal a Pandora's box. Like if you don't open it, disaster.
Right, exactly. If you don't open it, somehow all of the world's ills come around. So I would like to hear in the comments once this is on YouTube, if people are watching this, whether everyone thinks we should open the 2019 Happy Jar or leave things as they are. Whether that will cure all of the ills or if we might bring some kind of other pandemic upon us. I don't know. But yeah, so that was my show and tell, the 2019 Happy Jar.
Well, thanks for nothing. That's what I have to say.
Anytime.
That's a really great, that's just a really great tradition, though, to throw all your happy moments into a jar where you can look at it later on and be reminded of how many good times you had. Because I feel like sometimes we can focus too much on the negative and just forget all the nice stuff that happened. So I think that's a great tradition. I may have to start that myself. All right.
As a footnote, we don't have a 2020 Happy Jar.
Yeah, why would you put yourself under that pressure, right?
Exactly, and frankly, there hasn't been a whole lot to put in it yet. So, anyway.
All right, so my show and tell is actually two different things. It's this red jacket and this swim cap. Now, Stephen might remember this red jacket. I had to fight his actress to get it back, but this is the villain's jacket from Typo Squad, and I also wore. Yeah, it's a very nice jacket. And I also wore it as a villain in Terry's movie Chance. I was a blonde in that movie, which is where this comes in. I forgot to get a hairnet on the day of the shoot, so I had to wear a swim cap instead so I could put my wig on. And, long story short, swim caps do not make great hairnets. They, because the wig will slide on this because it's very smooth material. So every time I kick somebody and move my head, the wig would shift over my face. So on the rare moments that we didn't catch the pink of my scalp, the hair was in my face anyway. It got so bad that Terry was swearing at me and said, "I'm never letting you wear a wig again."
That's awesome.
I remember editing that movie, and I'm pretty sure there were several shots that every take you could either see your scalp or more noticeably the swim cap.
So I look like I have blonde hair with pink highlights. It's a very
That's
when
awesome.
that movie's released, it's
Did you wear that same jacket in the Robotic Horseman?
I can't remember if I wore the red one. I have a brown one that's probably.
Okay, I think it was a brown one. That's what I was thinking. It's hard to tell the lighting from.
I have a lot of little fake leather jackets. I can't afford real ones.
Fake leather, huh?
Around, but fake leather jackets we call.
They're great for set costume stuff because you're less attached to what happens to them.
Yes. Amazon.com is a great source for.
I have a closet full of clothes that I don't care what happens to them, so I can wear them on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we still have 5 minutes left of the show, which is great because it means I get to ask this question. I was walking outside today and I was thinking about how funny Stephen's book was, and that made me think about other comedies that I really liked, and then it made me think of how Get Smart ruined James Bond for me, because when I was a kid I watched Get Smart, and when I was finally old enough that my parents let me watch James Bond, I couldn't take it seriously at all because everything was a joke, and it took me actually I think 3 movies before I realized that they were actually somewhat serious. They weren't just badly done comedies. So that made me wonder if any of you have had a show that ruined other movies or shows for you because that became the prime show for whatever reason.
Well, you mentioned F Troop earlier, which ruined Good Lord Bird, apparently. We haven't even seen it yet. But I will say that Gilligan's Island didn't do any favors to Castaway.
No.
Because, I mean, they had it really nice on that island. So you watch poor Tom Hanks, and you're like, why don't you have like a series of huts and radio made out of coconuts and all sorts of different clothes for different occasions? I mean, what's going on here? So I guess you could think I guess you consider that one, possibly.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, because he didn't eat any coconut cream pies, if I recall. Or banana cream pie.
No, he didn't have any of those things, which is really weird. And also, the Harlem Globetrotters didn't show up. So, what's the point? What's the point of being on a deserted island?
I know. Ruined the whole experience.
Seriously.
How about you, Dan or Mitch? Any shows ruin a movie or an experience even for you? Because you're right, F Troop did ruin Good Lord Bird for me.
I mentioned this before the show started that Breaking Bad did such a great job with their zombies in terms of the makeup, the sheer realism of what I think I've always envisioned a zombie would be. And
there were zombies in Breaking Bad?
I'm not Breaking Bad. Sorry.
Walking Dead.
Wow, Walking Dead. Thank you. Oh my goodness. It's been it's been a total 55 minutes since I brought this up. So
we'll edit it in post. It's fine.
But at any rate, unless it's a goofy kind of a zombie movie, like I don't know, but where it's just a spoof on zombies, I think that I will expect my zombies to be Breaking Bad quality. Walking Dead quality from now on.
For Breaking Bad, it's
You know what? They should be zombies in Breaking Bad. Let's call it Breaking Bad 2. We're gonna call it Breaking Not a Lot.
How about you, Dan? Has there been a movie that ruined like an entire genre for you?
Not really. The closest I can think of is I think it was season 9. The last season of Scrubs really messed up like the previous 8 series or 8 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I watched a lot of it on Comedy Central, and they aired it, as far as I can tell, in chronological order. And so I spent a lot of time getting attached to JD and to Turk, and the season, I think it was 8, season 8 ended, and I'm legitimately a sobbing mess. But because I was watching reruns, then season 9, episode 1 started, and I'm just watching it like, what is this? So that kind of messed with it.
Yeah, I always feel like it's very hard for them to end shows in a good way, or the final season's always dicey, and a bad last episode could certainly ruin an entire series if you're not careful.
Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, exactly.
I mentioned Star Trek. Yay!
Anybody else?
The entire show without mentioning Star Trek.
Yeah. All right. We got through. Well, I did mention Star Wars earlier, right?
Yeah, we did. I think we hit all our big ones tonight. A little bit of added Get Smart and F Troop.
There you go.
Breaking Bad, Walking Dead.
I mean, I will say that Scooby-Doo comes as a close second, only because every time I see a horror film, in the back of my head, it's like, oh, it's a creepy janitor. Gotta be that. Oh, well, I think actually we're out of time tonight. So I just want to thank Mitch for coming, for being the host, as he always is.
Keep me away with a pointed stick.
Not that we tried, because we didn't try. But anyway, thank you, Stephen, for coming on our show. We're going to drop the links for your books in our YouTube feed, but just one more time for the audience watching, where can we find you?
StephenLomer.com or on Amazon, search for Typo Squad and click Buy Now.
All right. Definitely. And buy all 3 so that you can follow the story.
Buy all 3.
And thank you, Dan, for stepping in as our co-host. You were awesome as always.
Thank you.
And I'm KJ Traynor. Next week, we will have George McTire on. He's going to talk to us about doing a table read of Shakespeare during COVID. And Terry, hopefully, will be back. But if not, we'll be here. So see you next week.
Hey, thanks for watching the Early Late Night Live Show. We are on every Wednesday night live at Exeter Studios in Exeter, New Hampshire, 7 p.m. every Wednesday night. Please make sure to join us next week for more entertainment, comedy, and information that is probably not that important or timely. But no sports or no politics, so there's that. To find out more about my film company, make sure to check out narrowstreetfilms.com. To find out more about Killarney's writing, make sure you check out KillarneyTrainor.com. To find out more about Mitch and his acting, I'm sure he's got a website. I keep forgetting the name of it. I'll write it down here. To find out more about the wonderful studio that we produce at Exeter Studio, go to exeternh.tv. They're a great studio and they're doing a lot of cool things. But please make sure to like us on Facebook, and please, please, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell and like, and make sure that you share with your friends and enemies alike, because we don't judge that much. See you next week.